But Uncle Dave came over from Wales on a sailboat, and then before he died, he saw men on the moon. On the TV, he sat on the farm at home and watched on TV seeing men on the moon. When he was 95, my cousin Norman Crabtree had a great big helicopter that would cost about $300,000. He came down and set the helicopter down right behind the barn and came and asked Uncle Dave, "Uncle Dave, would you like to take a ride in the helicopter?" Uncle Dave, "Why, sure." Opened the door and in Uncle Dave jumped. He got way up above and he says, "Now," he said, "I can really see the heavens and the earth." He said, "I'm above it all." And very touching, very moving. So Uncle Dave was a funny man. He was very bright. He was a very good storyteller and a wonderful singer and things like that, but he didn't know anything about machinery. So we were impressed when we were kids how little he knew about anything to do with cars. Now, for example, in the country, we would sit to eat. Well, and not just when we ate, but whenever we would be around the house, a car would come by once in a while, maybe every 45 minutes, something like that. Cars didn't come. There weren't that many cars would come by there. Not that many people had cars, and not many of them were coming right where we lived. And every car was an old clunker of some kind that made very funny sounds, so it was very, very easy to tell whose car it was. Well, that is to everybody else, to me and my brother, my father, my mother, and Uncle Tom, but except one person who lived in the house couldn't tell. That was Uncle Dave. He couldn't tell whose car it was. So it was the funniest thing. We'd be sitting in the dinner table like this, and let's assume now this is Uncle Dave. He's sitting there, and there's no noises much out in the country, except the cows would make some noise, of course, and the chickens once in a while, and things like that. But there weren't big tires. There's more noise right here 10 times than there was in the country, ever. So Uncle Dave would be sitting like this, and we'd hear a car coming. He'd jump up like this, and he'd run over, and he'd grab the door, pull the door open, and look out. And you could see car coming from way up there, way down this way, and you could see it coming, and it'd go like this all the way to the other side. And quick as the car went around the bend, Uncle Dave would turn around. "Who was that?" Well, Uncle Tom would say, "Well, who was that? You were watching." And he said, "I think that was Vera Gilland, wasn't it?" Well, yes, it was Vera Gilland. I can tell by the way his muffler sounds. So, but Uncle Dave didn't seem to have any sense about cars at all. He had a car and he learned to drive. He was past 50. He learned to drive and people taught him how to drive. And he was driving up a little hill one day. And my brother and I were over at the barn, which was maybe, 200 yards away, some little distance. And Uncle Dave started to go up the hill and the car died. He got frightened. Instead of putting his foot on the brakes, what does he do? He jumps out of the car and grabs the car and tries to hold it from coming back. My brother and I are over here and we look and we saw that. And here's poor Uncle Dave standing there trying to hold his car from running back down. So we ran over. And one of us jumped in and put our foot on the brake. He says, "Oh, the brake." He says, "I never thought about that."